Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are looking at the USS West Virginia. Only this isn't the USS West Virginia that you're used to. This is the West Virginia before it was cool, before Pearl Harbor. This is the 1941 version of the West Virginia. So the original configuration of this Colorado-class battleship. West Virginia was in Battleship Row during the attack on Pearl Harbor. She took, I think, 7 torpedoes to the side and 2 converted 16-inch shells to the deck, and had sunk with pretty extensive damage, but because the port was relatively shallow, the Americans were able to refloat her and give her a complete makeover over a period of time after the attack, replacing the superstructure and the secondary guns, up-armoring the deck, and sticking the bulges on the side that were planned originally. So if we're looking here, we can very much still see the cage masts in the front and the rear that these old dreadnoughts had in their original configuration. So that would have been, and most of the secondaries are either casemates or so they wouldn't have been dual purpose. And the AA emplacements were definitely not as they were in the future as well. So we have an original version west of the West Virginia. But in return, the original version of the West Virginia is in Tier 6, so she's been down-tiered 1. She's still a Colorado-class battleship, though. So let's have a look at what they've done to the West Virginia to make her fit into Tier 6. And the first thing that we notice is that they've taken the precise aim off, and she doesn't also get any rapid reloads or anything. Most of the premiums seem to be getting the precise aim instead. She has, well, technically the same hull, but she doesn't get as many hit points because, well, it's the old hull, and the fire flooding resistance is significantly lower, and the torpedo damage reduction is lower as well because these bulges have been fitted afterwards. Speed-wise, she's actually a little worse off than the Tier 7 West Virginia. Well, not speed per se. I mean, nobody accuses these ships of being fast, but maneuverability-wise, she's a little bit worse off than the original West Virginia. But it's not a huge difference. The guns. Now these are 406 millimeter or 16-inch guns, and I think that makes them the biggest guns in the game at Tier 6, unless there's some obscure premium that I've missed or something. But I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure most everything else goes up to 381 millimeters at Tier 6. Superficially, the only thing that's really changed is that the range has been cut down by 2 kilometers, but they're still 16-inch guns. The secondaries, as we said, are mostly single-barreled casemates or other emplacements, and not the dual-purpose twin turrets. So they are, while they are numerous, they are not quite as powerful as the guns on the West Virginia at Tier 7. The AA, likewise, is much reduced, which again makes sense given that she's a Tier 6 ship. And the concealment is exactly the same. So she's been pretty heavily cut down. Is she still a viable ship, though? Let's have a quick look at the setup. You get the choice between a couple more hit points, and the rest is quite irrelevant, or 4% firing range. I would thoroughly recommend to go with the firing range because her range is very short on these guns. So that is actually important later when I talk about it a bit more. The range is relatively short, so that's what I would recommend taking. You can get the historical camo, which is your off-the-shelf historical battleship camo with the useless torpedo damage reduction. Everything else is quite okay. Or you can get the Christmas camo, which trades the useless torpedo damage reduction for max traverse speed, which is kind of nice. But if you then look like a Christmas tree. So stats-wise, this is the better camo. But visually, it's a matter of taste, really, so I'm not going to comment on that very much. Personally, not going to be taking that one into battle. If you wanted to look like things like looking like Christmas trees, well, anyway. Main battery mod 2 for a faster reload, because it's really all about those guns. Although you could also be tempted to go with something like secondary mod, but then again, the secondaries are not that good. And the rest is just the common setup. Now, I'm saying the secondaries are not that good. Yes, but there's plenty of them. And these are really, really big guns with a short range. Now, there's one thing that you need to know about the Colorados in the game. The Colorado class has a pretty decent belt armor. And in common with most of the other mid-tier ships or lower-tier battleships in the American line, has a terrible deck armor. So things like the New Mexico or the Colorado, if you know how to target the deck armor, you can absolutely wreck these things. I've scored triple citadels on New Mexicos with a Nagato just by aiming at the deck armor. If you're hitting the belt, though, these things are relatively sturdy. This is a tier 6 ship. She gets into tier 5 games. Not many people at that tier know these things. You see where I'm getting at with that, right? What you can do in the West Virginia 41, this is a pretty decent brawler because she is a tier 6. The regular West Virginia gets into tier 8 games where you can be a little bit more, well, endangered from those sort of things. Whereas the tier 6 gives you the opportunity to just get up close and personal with other players, especially battleship players, and absolutely obliterate them while shrugging off most of the damage that gets harmlessly plonking off your belt armor. Commander skills. You don't really have to worry about an awful lot because the ship doesn't have any ship skills that you need to care about. So what I'm doing here is just an HP tank build, and I am actually using the close quarters combat expert because most of the time I'm not very quickly, but I am getting myself into just point blank range and just blast people in the face with this thing. I am using Halsey here for the fully decked out option, and obviously with the APCS skill, but for the first round we're just doing a regular level 6 commander, but the setup otherwise is pretty much the same. Although Halsey does get the Adrenaline Rush Plus, which I otherwise wouldn't really use. I'd normally go with Extinguisher and go with Compartment Maintenance probably, or with the Master Reloader if you're coming from the Tech Tree line. It doesn't really matter that much. But here we are, and I have neglected of taking the Horizontal Protection Expert because, again, what I just said. Also, but only because of Halsey's special skill to do more damage when you have less than 33% of your hit points. So, West Virginia 1941, let's go. And we start out with the relatively free setup, except for the ship itself, obviously, in a tier 7 game against double Rodney, Fuso, Gepard, and Icarus. Now, just because it's mid-tier doesn't mean that people always don't know what they're doing. But we're playing a domination map on Trident, and well, you obviously, you're obviously still in a very, very slow American battleship. So sometimes things don't work out, but if you can manage to get close, let's see where that Leander is going. If you can manage to get close to things, you can make yourself quite useful. So, over towards Sea Cup we're sailing. Because one of those things with the American battleships, at least on the standard type battleships, is that they are dreadfully slow. So you kind of need to make up your mind early on where you want to go. And I have made up my mind that either we are Leander. Okay, Leander leaves me alone around Sea Cup. Do you? Are you turning? Are you getting C? I'm not going to call the team to capture C. If he wants to go B Cup, then that's fine with me. There's probably a destroyer coming through C. So, well, but you never know. This is okay. I'm spotted, so there's a destroyer around here somewhere. Notice the little circle on the minimap. Your range is barely larger than the than your detection. Okay, yes, it's the Gepard and it's the Fuso. So we will unload at the Gepard and then switch to high explosive. And he dodged that shot with ease. And then we will turn around and slowly sail away from the Gepard. Now let's see. Let's find out if the Gepard knows what he's doing. Because we'll be starting to unload with the secondaries at that thing. He is just in secondary range. And yeah, while there are numerous secondaries, so he stays out of secondary range. This is probably the moment where he dropped his torpedoes. He has run into an island, so shots out. And then we'll turn and avoid these torpedoes, because I've already slowed down, and these torpedoes are sailing harmlessly past. And the Gepard is not coming in for the kill. So the Gepard has now learned that I know a thing or two about torpedoes, and is now sailing away to reload his torpedoes, and then honestly doesn't really have to do anything else. So let's unload the high explosive at the Fuso and get back to the armor piercing. And we seem to have missed the Fuso, but yeah, here comes the whole deck armor, belt armor thing that I talked about earlier. So I know that there's a Gepard out there, but we do need to get that Fuso out of the way and make ourselves useful. Now I'm going for manual aim here for the Fuso's deck plating, and as you can see, that very much hurt. Okay, the Gepard is back, so we'll just, well, I'm reluctant to say kite away, because that implies a certain measure of speed, and speed is very much something that these ships don't have. But the Gepard is otherwise occupied, so Fuso, hello. Let me ruin your day. Now I'm getting a little unlucky here with the Citadels, or lack thereof, but look at the amount of damage that he's doing to me in return, which is minor, because he's mostly just hitting my belt armor. And the Gepard is now sailing behind me. I am very dead here, but I want to take the Fuso down with me if I can, and that should almost. And yeah, I am running away, in big air quotes, from the Gepard. I do need to get that Fuso killed though. So we'll get one more AP salvo out at the Fuso, trying to avoid some more Gepard torpedoes. There they come. We're not going to be able to dodge those, but we can probably do our level best to evade at least some of them. Okay, we have lost our rudder. That's something I'd love back, so we're going to have to burn the damage control. I mean, I'm dead here anyway. I know that. I'm right now just trying to pull the Gepard as far away as possible from the battle. There's no way that I'm going to defend myself in this thing against a destroyer that has a little bit of an idea what I'm doing, and knows that he honestly has to rush properly at this point. Come on, can I get the turrets around? He is turning full blast. That's not going to kill him, but it's going to do enough damage to him, and now I'm going to take the torpedoes. Despite me slowing down here in the full turn, yeah, he hasn't launched early, so there's absolutely nothing I can do to avoid these. Let's see if we can survive with a heal. Nope, can't out-heal them. But the Gepard is now on relatively low hit points, and the Gepard, despite it being a very fast destroyer, is now very far away, which gives the rest of my team some chance to do something. I don't know, like cap control, maybe? Might be an interesting thing to do. That Rodney is finding himself in a Sims and a Battleship sandwich. Actually, although two of these are bots actually, still alive. Now you can't blame the bots for not Damaconing, but Sims would have been quite useful in that sort of thing, rather than obviously missing the Rodney with his torpedoes. And Sims, by the way, there's a Gepard coming your way. I'm just mentioning that. I have done my best to get it on low hit points. Yep, there he is. You see that guy? You might want to start shooting at him with your guns, because he's on low hit point. Yes, there you go. Nicely done. You see, Sims? I can help with that. While the Rodney has to... Yeah, Poltava's taken care of the Rodney, which means we're still behind on points because the enemy team is holding 2 of the capture circles. But the Gepard is relatively low on hit points. Sims? Guns. Guns? Sims. The little things on top. The things that go shoot. Those things. No, you're not going to torpedo the Gepard. Stop trying. Shoot him. Just gun him down. Okay. How are we on points? Yeah, we're sort of going to be in a... We're going to have to kill everyone situation. Because Sims is refusing. Still trying to torpedo... This is a Gepard. You're going to just gun him down. Okay, Poltava's helping out. It's going, screw it, I'm doing it myself. And the Sims is dropping torpedoes. And there's the Icarus, and the Icarus is gonna donk all these torpedoes in the Poltava, and the Sims is probably gonna... Nah, I think this is a very fast ship, If he just clips him, now obviously the Gepard has avoided these. Now he's using his guns. Could have gunned down the Gepard 5 minutes ago and then gone after the Icarus, rather than leaving the Poltava to his fate. Although the Poltava has managed to survive, and the Gepard is down, so now they just need to kill the Icarus. The problem is, the only ship that can spot the Icarus and is fast enough to catch him is the Sims. And the Sims is now at the bottom of the map. And the enemy team has 2 out of 3 capture circles, and if the Icarus isn't stupid and is just running away and is not trying to win any harder than he actually needs to, then they've got this in the bag. And the Icarus is trying to win harder. So the question is, does the Poltava have the HE loaded and the foresight to know, oh, that wasn't a bad shot, but he's not going to get another one. And there come the Icarus's torpedoes. But the Poltava takes him out with the secondaries. And because Icarus just had to try to win harder, he throws the game. Poltava wins before he gets taken out by the Icarus torpedoes. And I feel I've contributed by taking down a Fuso and doing enough damage to that Gepard that the Sims eventually managed to kill him. Actually, it was the Poltava, I think, that went out. But yeah, mid-tier gaming. Let's go again. This time in a lovely 4v4, and this is a tier 6 game, which means there are tier 5s in the battle. Although not actually player tier 5s, it's just one tier 5 in the enemy team. It's an aircraft carrier battle. The West Virginia 41 does not have the greatest AA, but it's only a tier 6 carrier. It's the Weser, Fuso, and I've already seen what I can do to a Fuso, Aoba, and a Black Fushun. So off we go. Bay of Storms, space capture. In a 4v4, that's going to get interesting, because that's most likely going to be an attempted base trade. But let's see who we are spawning with. Now, standard type battleships are not known for their speed. They're known for many things. Speed is not one of them. And going for a cap in one of these things means that your team is really, really stretching it. Well, we'll see if the carrier is getting us some scouts. Do we have do we have the Maestrale? Do we have it? Yes, we appear to have it. Good. So we actually have a functioning destroyer, and the carrier is going around and scouting the other flank, and that's not a terrible thing. He's using his fighter craft to maybe do something. Although the German fighters might be winning that one. But he is going after the dive bombers, and the German might be going... No, he's not going for the carrier snipe, as he shouldn't be, really. Okay, Maestrale is doing scouting on our side here, and we have found an enemy battleship, and we have found the Black Fushun and the Fuso. Okay, hello, Mr. Fuso. Would you mind to get into close range? Meanwhile, Black Fushun, if he comes after... Black Fushun has deep water torpedoes. Yes, he does. But what he doesn't know is that deep water torpedoes cannot hit destroyers. Oh, well done, Maestrale. He went like, yeah, buddy, that's not going to work. So that's one very dangerous destroyer out of the picture, which means I don't need to use the high explosive anymore. I'll just unload it and the Fuso, and then we'll get ourselves into brawling range, because that's a bot Farragut, so I'm not particularly concerned about that thing. So, Fuso, you're mine. Let's go. I have the biggest guns for the tier, and if you don't know to target my deck armor, you'll be in all kinds of trouble. And we're already being capped, which is unsurprising. But the Ryujo has taken down the bot Farragut over there. And yeah, Fuso is now learning the hard way the lessons of pain. So that bot Farragut's no danger. We have lost the Maestrale on the other side, however. So no cap on that regard. This can be a little bit too aggressive, but Fuso now realized, oh dear, I'm in trouble. I'm coming for you, not very quickly, but I think I'm still faster than the Fuso in reverse. So he's realized way too late that you do not wish to brawl in a... Just checking that that's really a bot. That you do not wish to brawl in a Japanese battleship, especially if you don't know to target the deck armor. Let's see if he figures it out eventually, but I am very much massacring that ship at this point. And he's trying to go bow in to his credit, but that only means that he only gets his forward turret, of which I just shot one off, so he only got 2 guns at this point. And that's all he gets to shoot at my belt armor, which is going to ploink off mostly, while I'm doing that to him. So far we have taken really minor damage. There's a bit of fire damage that we've taken, but that's it. Yeah, this turret hitting my belt armor is not going to do an awful lot, and you're really not doing yourself a favor there. What do you do in this kind of situation? Don't be in it. Do not attempt to brawl a West Virginia in a Fuso. It's not going to end well. What are we going to do now? I'm still maintaining that we're probably in a base trade situation, because there is one of the cruisers, and I think there was an Alba coming in. So while we're dealing with that bot over there we go. Let's go for the enemy capture circle. Speed. The Weser was briefly spotted. Now the Weser is unspotted, but the Weser has got planes out. So I can, if I follow the planes, know reasonably well where the Weser is. He's right there. You see the planes landing? That's where the Weser is. So we're just going to target that. Shots out, and then we'll be heading for the capture circle. We are being capped, obviously. Yep, there he is. We are being capped, and that is a Botmutski. But let's distract the Weser a little bit. And yes, you are now spotted. You also don't want to brawl an American battleship. But yeah, where's he going to go? There's one battleship coming from each direction. So he's dead. He's dead either way around. Okay, that shot went way high. But we can finish that thing off with the next salvo. He is no danger. Yes, there come some airplanes. Yes, I don't have the greatest AA. No, I don't care, because I haven't even used my first heal yet. So let's aim waterline this time, and shots out, and that should be a dead Weser. There he goes. And there comes some torpedoes, and that's a flood. That's fine. That's what I can use for my first heal in Damacon. Now we are being capped. That's the Alba, and I don't have the range to do anything. But he's now the last ship alive, so he has to win by capping. And that battleship on our side is counter capping, so I don't think he can win by capping, which means I can actually turn around. I don't have to be in the capture circle. I can turn around and try to get my guns onto that Alba and see if I can do something about him. Well, the Ryujo is still airstriking that thing. Well done, Ryujo. He has moved his carrier. Alba is still in the capture circle. Well, let's see if I can blind fire him from here. And even if the friendly battleship isn't capping, he's now neutralized the enemy capture circle. Okay, Alba has taken out the Ryujo with gunfire, but has taken a torpedo salvo to into the side. So even if the friendly battleship wasn't capping, we would still be winning, because we would have neutralized the capture circle, which means the Alba can't win by capping, who is now in a battle with the Botmutski. Botmutski is probably just going to do the dance, yep, and avoid the torpedoes. Good luck, torpedo, and it's counter-dropping the Alba. Well done, Botmutski. Let's see if we can save our little bot friend here, shall we? from that nasty cruiser over there, because we are capping, and it's just a question of, can I kill the Alba before the battle ends, that should not be too difficult. Unfortunately, this is an American battleship, and the dispersion isn't the greatest. But let's see if we can save the Mutsuki. Anyway, 1941 West Virginia. This is a surprisingly fun ship, and the reason for that is that because it's a tier 6, and because at tier 6, people haven't really often figured things out yet. Now, if it is very easy to counter, because it has a top speed of, you could probably overtake it. You could probably swim faster than that thing can sail. But a lot of people haven't understood yet how to aim, where to aim, and you have the biggest guns of tier 6, I think, unless I'm wrong with that. And you're very much in a good ship for these kind of situations, to exploit the lack of experience of mid-tier players. So I find this a thoroughly enjoyable ship to play. And I'm still waiting for my first Citadel, but I think you'll get it eventually. Anyway, that's it for me today. Fun ship to play, and obviously of significant historical interest, which is always a bonus. See you next time. Bye-bye.